Darrah, you've called the transforming story your life's message or your life's teaching. Tell us why. What were you meaning by that?
Well, I think all of us have a heart for the poor and for our broken world. And the Bible is the story that transforms. It can transform individual lives, which most of us understand, but few people realize that it's the Bible that can lift communities out of poverty. And the Bible has the ability to build nations that are free, that are not enslaved, that are compassionate and not cruel. They're just and not corrupt. And if you really have a heart for the poor and you want to see nations develop, what is it that's going to do that? And it's the Word of God. And most Christians do not see the Scriptures at that level. So it is the transforming story, and it's my passion, because my passion is to see people lifted out of poverty and nations transformed. And the Word of God is the thing that will do that.
Tell us how you, Darrah, how you developed this lesson, in the early days. What was it that kind of spurred you to the ideas that became this lesson?
Well, there are two things. One, and they happened around the same time of my life. When I was in college, I had the opportunity to travel to Mexico City and see poverty for the first time in my life. And God used that to break my heart. And I knew I needed to do something about what I was seeing. Didn't know what it would be, but I needed to do something. And a few years later, I had the opportunity to study at Liberty Fellowship with Francis and Edith Schaeffer. And I came to understand the power of a biblical worldview. And when I came to work with Food for the Hungry and work in nations and communities that were poor, I realized that the root of the problem of poverty was not lack of resources. And if it's not lack of resources, then what is it? It's the lack of a biblical framework. And for the want of a biblical framework, nations that have abundant natural resources are impoverished. So if we really want to take poverty seriously, we need to understand that the truth will set people free, and the truth will lift communities out of poverty.